Hello! You finished the setup using the UpgradeMate wizard. Now, let's take a look at what objects and items have been created in the Wizard Configuration Manager and how everything is set up. Let's get started quickly from here. First, we have the collections we created. We use these collections for our deployment processes. There are 12 collections under a specific folder. We'll talk about the details of these in a bit. Second, for operating system deployments, we have task sequences. There are 2 task sequences. These are used for scanning and deployment, and each one has its own deployment assigned. We'll cover their details soon too. Third, if you chose an ISO file during setup, an upgrade package for that gets created. We'll talk about that in a moment. Fourth, we have both the upgrade package and the form package. You'll also find the form here, and it has its own deployment. Fifth, we can mention the client settings. Here, we make sure there's enough space in the SCCM cache to download the ISO files. Now let's go back to the collections section. Let's also look at the test and production sections. First off, you might need to make some configuration changes on SCCM to fit your environment, so let me explain that. The section where we set the package installation start time is here, and the machines in the collection labeled 01 Candidate are marked as candidate machines. From here, you can add whichever machines you want to the 02 collection to include them in the installation process. After that, the system takes over and the process starts from this point. So the first stage is the scanning phase. The scanning phase is managed by the deployment running in the background. This deployment works based on the task sequence, which is called the scan package task sequence. This part has a schedule. By default, it's set to run the scan every day at 10 a.m. If the scan is successful, it won't try again. You can change this time or add multiple schedules as needed. We don't touch the run behavior setting at the bottom. In the second stage, users who pass the scan get moved to the available form section. In the available form section, the program part, basically the form's deployment setting, decides how often the form will be shown to users. Here, the deployment makes sure the form is presented to users every day at noon. If the scan is successful, we can direct users to start the upgrade. It's set for 12 p.m. You can add more times or change the schedule if you want. The run behavior stays the same. Once the installations are successful, users won't see another notification. Let's quickly go over the collections again to review the steps. By default, the machines you want to include in the deployment are listed here with version control. If there are machines listed here that you don't want to include in the upgrade, you can add them to the Exclude from Upgrade collection to leave them out of deployment and reporting. The machines added to the 02 collection begin the scan. Those that pass go to one section, and those that fail go to another. If a machine fails 10 times, it won't try again. For machines that pass, the form pops up automatically for users. We already showed the deployments. There's also an expire section. In the wizard, we set how long and with which options, install, schedule, postpone, the form would be shown. When this period runs out, users will only have the install option and they'll be moved to the relevant collection. When they land in this collection, the installation is shown to the user but doesn't start automatically. At this point, you can add a deployment to force users into the installation process or set up an automatic installation. To do this, just create a new required deployment for the execute task sequence here. Then you can deploy it to the required collection. Deployment will happen according to the schedule you set. Once the installations are finished, successful ones move to the success section and failed ones to the fail section. Remember, reporting isn't done through the collections, but through the Power BI dashboard. Here, you can see error reasons, which step failed, and get details about hardware or software issues. During the test phase, we recommend adding devices with different models, operating systems, and software to pre-cache content so you can test them. Once you hit your desired success rate, You can add all candidate machines to pre-cache content at once to let the deployment run automatically. And just a reminder, to start and trigger the installation, all you need to do is add machines to the OO2 collection. What other settings might you need to handle in the background? You need to distribute the used packages to the relevant DPs. For example, if you picked an ISO file during setup, don't forget to send the created upgrade packages and the form package to all your distribution DPs. Thanks for listening.